Hey there crew members, Starfleet personnel, here we go again, another deep dive into the interior build of the 1701, original Starship USS Enterprise, which recently has turned into an absolute epic deep dive into the dorsal section of this ship. I always knew it was going to be a challenge. It's a weird area of the ship. Three failed attempts to get this, but finally nailed it with this thing here. Okay, so what I'm going to do very quickly, I'm just going to show you the previous attempts that I made. This was this was the first attempt that I made with this very nice looking suite. Looks a bit like a fish. Very nice sweeping, curving deck here with the turbo elevator shaft in place there, and an opening for a stairway going either up or down to the next deck. So that was the first attempt that I made, and I just couldn't get, you know, when the decks are stacked like this going forwards, I just couldn't get the walls to line up. It just didn't work. Okay, so then I went to this version almost out of desperation, really. I saw a few models online where they had made the original Enterprise with this kind of thing where there's no curvature, there's just rounded edges, and this is flat. This was very easy. This was super easy to get the decks to line up because there's no curvature, so it's just a straight sided hull plating. I had an uneasy feeling about it though. Somewhere deep down inside, I really felt as though I'd compromised something, because when I saw some of the other models, and like, you know, the restoration model at the Smithsonian Institute, it was quite clear that there was a curvature, so this was a compromise. And I'd just like to say thank you to the supporters and the followers of this channel, because when I posted this one, I got one or two comments saying, very honestly, and I really appreciate that, very honestly saying, I don't like this straight-sided deck thing, don't like it. And somebody else said that they didn't like it, and that to put all of the effort that is going to go into this and not have it as close to being correct as I can is a bit sad, really. And I took that on board. I really did, because deep down inside I knew that myself anyway, as I said. And so I just thought, okay, look, I've got to work this out. And it's like, you know, I've explained it before. It's like if you're driving and you get a wheel stuck in mud, spinning the wheel in the mud. You kind of feel as though I can't do anything until I get that wheel out of the mud. And then you get the wheel out, and then you're rolling again, and there you go, boom, we're off again. So that's what I did. I did it again. So here's a smaller version of the dorsal section with that curvature here, and this is the one that I kind of couldn't work out, and I was prepared at one stage to get this right and to feel good about the entire build, because if this isn't right, I don't feel good about the rest of it. It's got to be right, it's got to be done right. So I was even prepared to build this out of modelling clay and then literally slice each deck out, so that then I had the absolute shape of each deck when stacked like this. Okay, but anyway, I didn't do that, because what I did do is, again, it was another comment that came in, and it was a wonderful piece of advice that I hadn't thought of. I was just trying to fit straight walls into curved edges, and this comment said, look, instead of doing that, what you need to do is get where this part curves here to line up with this part, which is not a straight line. It sounds obvious, I know it sounds obvious, but, well, to me it wasn't. So I cut out strips, these thin strips of modelling card, and I laid them in line here, and they line up perfectly, completely perfectly. This is the top of the decking, so what I've done is this part here is a straight line, and then it curves at the front, and then it slopes down at the back like this. So you can see where this part is a straight line, this full piece of hull plating here just goes on, and it fits perfectly to each deck. Okay. The absolutely awesome thing about this now is that I've nailed it, I've got it. So I just did one side, so there's the other side of the decking to do. So my only task now is to take this and just enlarge it up to 1/25th scale, which is behind me. So look at it. So this is the lay it out on the wall so you can see it clearly, so I'm not kind of holding it. So this is the 1/25th scale dorsal section, and I've placed the little 1/25th scale characters. There's Captain Kirk up there on deck 8. So this is really gives you an insight into the size of the build. Also, the great thing about doing a 1/25th scale build is that these windows are so easy to cut out precisely. You know, like when you see these like 1/350 scale builds of the Enterprise, and it's wow, getting those little windows to look sharp is like it's a big job. I mean, kudos to those guys that do that and get them looking sharp. But with this size, or this size here, to cut these windows out and get them looking sharp is like super easy. And also, the other fantastic thing is, because I'm actually focusing on the interior, on the full build, when you look in through these windows, you're going to see the real interior of the ship. It's not like a photograph that I've stuck on the back just to give the impression of an interior, or some kind of CGI thing that I've put in there. You're going to see the real interior through those windows. Okay, on this model, these windows are cut out, and this isn't entirely accurate actually. The windows might need to be a little bit smaller, but I wasn't concerned about that. I just did this for effect, and because I was I was a bit excited and I wanted to see what it looked like with the windows in it. All right, and of course these strips here will be solid, will be a full hull plate going right the way around. What I did was I cut tracing paper out and I stuck them behind the windows, so that when you light it like this, you can see that it just gives a nice diffused lighting effect on the windows. I also placed a piece of fabric here to diffuse the lighting even further, and so you can see the effects of that clearly on this model here. And I just want you to imagine with me this. Can you imagine this built like this? So I am going to build this size as a model to show you. But can you imagine this with these windows cut out, lit from behind here like that? Oh. Sends chills down my spine. It really does. So here's just a quick sweep of the 1/25th scale layout for the dorsal, and I love doing this. You remember the video that I did some way back showing the slice of the secondary hull? I mean, the secondary hull at 1/25th scale, I mean, it really shows you the size of not just the build, but actually the ship. I mean, look at that, the size of that. It's travelling up through the decks, all the way up, and up, and up, and up to deck 8. Just incredible. So that's just an update to let you know, because in the previous videos that I've done, you could clearly see that I was struggling with it, but I've nailed it, I've done it, I've got it, and it's got that beautiful curve that the dorsal section has on the Enterprise, and so I feel as though I've got my wheel out of the mud and I'm kind of rolling again now, so enthusiastic. So that's that. Please let me know what you think in the comments about this. I read them all, and I reply to them all as well, as you will see in previous videos. Okay, so that's that, just a quick update. So now, what I want to do is I'm going to deviate slightly from the Enterprise, and I'm going to move to another classic science fiction creation of Ridley Scott, Alien. And what I'm going to do is show you a model that I made a couple of years ago now, 2018, quite a while ago, of the Nostromo style interior. And the reason I'm showing this, there's a few reasons. One reason is that I want to demonstrate to you the kind of attention and the kind of application that I'm going to apply to this full build here. It will give you an idea of the input that I'm going to put into that, because as you know, so far all of these, they're actually just real world 3D sketches. This is not the final build. The final build will be this big. So I want to show you the kind of attention to detail that I'm going to put into the USS Enterprise that I put into this Nostromo corridor. And the second reason I'm showing it is that I know that quite a few model makers watch these videos, and in the video that I'm going to show you in a moment, it's 18 minutes long, and it takes you through all the behind the scenes techniques that I used to light it. Super low tech lighting, LEDs, torches like this. But all the techniques that I used, and I was really happy with that build, because when I showed that video, when I first showed it, I got quite a lot of comments from people thinking that it was actually a full-size set, so I was super happy about that. It's a 1/6 scale model, and I show the inside and the outside and the behind the scenes, so I hope you enjoy it. I made that video at a time when I didn't have editing software. I didn't know how to use editing software, and so it's all done in one take. Okay, which when I look at the video now, I think actually that's quite okay considering it was done in one take. So okay, without further ado, I'm just going to pass over to that video now, and I hope you enjoy it. Don't forget, please support this channel. Continue to support this channel. Give the like, give the subscribe, hit the bell, all that other stuff. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video, when I'll be showing you progress on this 1/25th scale dorsal section done like this. Okay, as always, I hope the video finds you well, and I'll see you soon with the next video. Bye for now. So this is just this video is just going to give a look at this model that I've just completed recently in the last few days. It's the interior, it's a portion of the interior of the Earth to Mars container ship, the EMAC stands for Earth Mars Mission Area Cydonia. So so this is the accommodation level here. So I'll just pull back so you can see a little bit more. So this would be a corridor leading into the accommodation section. Some low level lighting there, and we'll just move up here in towards the ladder, which leads up into what could be the, well, obviously another level. The other level could be the medical section or the bridge. But actually, I think this particular section is in a rotating ring for gravity. So I think this particular section would have like maybe 3 levels in it. So the bridge would be, I'm going to place the bridge on the top level for now. So of course from here, if you're going up to the bridge, there would also be a lift, an elevator as well. Okay, so that's that. Let's just go through the pressure door. I'll see if I can open it smoothly this time. Yes, perfectly smoothly with a nice pressure door sound there. So this is into the corridor of the accommodation section. So this is where some of the crew quarters will be. I'll just show you the colour coding on the floor here, which I'm quite happy with. I think that's a very soothing, welcoming colour, and a nice contrast to the white and the grey of the walls. So there we are, junction 4. So into the corridor, you can see we've got overhead lighting strips and also a lighting grill on the ceiling element here. I must admit, I really like this ceiling element. I was looking at some shots of the interior lighting column on board a Boeing Dreamliner aircraft, and it's a little bit similar to this, that central curve element there with lighting both sides. So you might have already noticed that there seems to be some kind of movement at the bottom, at the end of this corridor. And what that actually is it's me. It's a reflection. So I got this idea from the way they did the corridors in the first Alien movie, the corridors of the Nostromo, which also, as you've probably gathered by now, has been a strong influence in this design. But what they did is they built half of this set and then put a big mirror on it and reflected the other half. So half of this, what you see in the corridor now, is a reflection, and I'm just going to wave to you. There I am, waving at this end of the corridor, which is reflected at the other end. The great thing about when I take photos of this is that I can 3D paint out my reflection at the end of this corridor, so that it just looks like as though it's a corridor going further down, and it doesn't ruin the illusion. Yeah, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull out and show you behind the scenes and just give you a bit of an insight into the build. So we're coming right out, and I'll show you the whole thing from a distance. I must admit, I also like, I love the outside of this because it actually does look like a miniature movie set. You know, when you see videos on YouTube about filming behind the scenes, it really does look the way a movie set looks there. So lots of stuff going on behind the scenes here. LED lighting strips fixed in position, and behind here I'll just show you an effect that I quite like. It's basically, my lighting skills are super low tech. I'm not good with lighting models at all. So what I use is I use LED strips and also torches. See if this one's bright enough. No, actually it doesn't. Yeah, that one's bright enough. I use torches to get the effects that I need, and as far as from within the model goes, it works perfectly. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come down here, and then I'm going to apply this. Don't know if you can see those lights there. It's not very bright, is it? No. Okay, I'll see if I can get a brighter light to show you. This one is really bright. So there it is. So you can see that I've put the light behind, the torch behind this area here, behind the ladders, and it just looks like indication lights of some kind. There's another one here, this green light here, which indicates that everything is functioning good with the pressure door. And again, all I'm doing is I'm putting a torch behind there. So super low tech, but giving quite a high tech result there. Also, here's a look over the top there. That's just a rear light, a red rear light for a bicycle, and a white light for a bicycle. So if I switch both those on, there, and a bit tricky. Hang on a minute. There, red and white bicycle light, and then from here you see this green light here and a green light here, and if I put this on emergency mode, we get quite a nice red emergency flashing light on this side and there. I'll just leave those on there. Alright, so I'll connect up the LEDs now and show you how that affects the inside. So here on the outside you can see the LEDs, and if we go back inside the corridor, suddenly we've got nice floor lighting there. So that's coming up from outside of the model. I think that gives a really nice effect. There's also a lighting effect on the ceiling here. So actually there's covers on the right side, so I'm going to take these covers are blocking the light out, so I'm going to take these covers off here so that the daylight can actually shine through those. And there you see we've also got ceiling lighting both sides. There's also, for lighting here on the top, what I've done is I've made these covers here, which are like blue covers for the ceiling. Put those on, put a bright light on top, and you should get an idea of how, you should be able to see how that sort of gives a blue effect. I've got a really big flood lamp that I put over the top of these, and then the whole of the ceiling kind of lights up blue. Can't really see it that well here, don't think. Yeah, there it is. I'm just moving the light so you can see when all of these areas are completely lit up, the ceiling looks really cool, kind of a blue effect, very spaceship-like. Let's go down to the outside of the model, and I'll show you this mirror here. So there's the mirror behind it reflecting the first half of the corridor, so you can see that actually really gives a really good effect there. Here you can see on this wall what I've used is plug socket fittings and some other diddly bobbers, whatever you call them, from an electrical store, and then just kind of stuck them on like that. I'm going to take the roof off here now. I'm going to take the ceiling off to show you the interior of the corridor, and I'll just take that off there. I'll show you that in a moment. So here's the interior of the corridor, and again, strong feature, design feature from, again, plug sockets. So these are just plug sockets. This is the back side of the pressure door. Here is the entrance to crew accommodation, which clearly has a very different design from the pressure door. It's kind of very human, very welcoming. There's even a piece of artwork hanging outside this particular crew member's door. Here is the feature. This is like a plant culture. So this ship going to Mars is going to be carrying all kinds of plant culture projects on board, and the idea behind this showing out into the corridor is that this crew member here and other crew members will be working on plant experiments in their apartments. So it's kind of a design feature, and something to give them something to do outside of the regular duties on board this ship. But the ship is designed so that they can display their experiment or work out into the corridors of the ship. So kind of at regular places in the ship you will see this, and also pieces of artwork hanging. So this is a very human environment for the crew to be on travelling to Mars. Yeah. So I'll just come down here, see if I can show you a lower shot of the crew quarters. There. So this thing came together quite quickly, actually. 10 days. This was a 10-day project, and I was working pretty much all day on it. It was a full-time project. It's made with card, plastic, bits and bobs from an architect model supply store, from an electrical store. If I just turn the ceiling over here so you can see the work that went into this. So these here, this central column that again I said was inspired by the Boeing Dreamliner aircraft. These are actually 7-day tablet containers. So here you can see there's 7 of these on each one, and they're just painted white. Before they were painted, it had Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday written on them. So they're just pill containers from the pharmacy that I bought. There. These are like plastic pipes that I bought from the architect model supply store, and they're just just basically stuff that looks as though it does something on the ceiling, you know, like supply pipes or something like that, something to do with the functioning of the spaceship. But yeah, quite happy with that design. I think it works really well for the ship. It looks very functional but also clean. It's got a clean vibe to it. As we go in here to the ladder, I'm just going to come up behind there. That's the ladder leading up to nowhere. And that's it really. That's the model in its complete form. It was actually done on a wooden base. If I come down here, I can just show you the wooden base, and it's kind of raised up on support sticks there to keep the floor stable. It's quite a nice low down angle of the thing. So yeah, so that's it. That's a brief description of this project. Bye for now.